And we're back. Going into game 2. You see, this is a pretty fair matchup, and like a lot of the times, the Warlock deck can sort of out attrition the Priest deck if they have things like Jiraxxus. From early in the tournament, we know that Keyo doesn't have Jiraxxus in his deck, so he needs to. So he needs to like figure out how he's going to regain the board from this position, because now the Priest just gets the access to like a bunch of dragons it gets to beat down. Uh, Warlock has access to things like Twisting Nether and Hellfire, but they're really complicated on both sides to actually build on. There we go. Same thing, he's just going to build more card advantage. This is looking really favorable for the Priest.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my god.
We're doing more. No, maybe no desktop audio. So
I guess I'll just hit one of the. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
robbing. I think you just killed the tree. No, the desktop audio. Clearly, that guy does.
It's 1 in a million.
Shield Bearer and Tonton.
So the Sylvanas Zero is really clunky for Izzyflo to deal with, which is really good. It's really efficient and it earns a lot of minion damage. You see, he's just gonna follow up with Twilight Well. He might just like present a bunch of big things and then Shadow Flame or
Oh my god.
Shadow Word Death.
What the fuck? This is what happens.
You see just that. Hopefully he gets a good steal.
Seems like it's all.
There you go. There you go.
It's kind of an underwhelming steal, but this is fine.
It hasn't been comments since he left.
They left with him. I talked like Moto Strike after he
There
dropped
was like,
7
I think 60 of them because the second that we put up the stream, it was like 70 people.
You see, it's pretty straightforward from Keyo. Just like present a good defender turn, bunch of big taunts, and get rid of the brand. And now his board is commanding. Like,
I'm happy.
We got like 10 followers out of it.
Viewers are nice or whatever. Don't give a fuck. Viewers are nice, but you know, to actually have the tournament, whatever.
Casters wouldn't fail on that.
yep, there's another good Shadow Word Death.
I think we just send everything. There's no need. I don't think I'd keep an upgrade or anything. I just want to win out.
And now he still has initiative.
Who's this poker joker? Oh, ban your ass.
Everyone kept saying, Bill Gay.
What is
that
that?
before?
What's Bill Gay?
I don't know.
But this is kind of an underwhelming Doomsayer, since like he has to rebuild initiative somehow.
White T Bill?
And what does he respond with? Probably just Emperor. Probably just tap Emperor, but he could just easily Emperor the turn afterwards. He's not discounting combo pieces. He's just gonna tap anyway. It was a really interesting turn by Keyo, because now he has to forego the Emperor in favor of just like building the board.
Happy New Year, man. Thanks for coming. Yeah, right, yeah. I want to win this, I don't have to ladder tonight. Clearly.
Oh, but that's a really good Blast Crystal.
I know, it's probably. When do you have till 3 a.m., right? I think 3 a.m.
I have till 3 a.m.
So ladder.
to hit legend.
Just stay here until Tom's done. Meet me at Milo, York.
Keyo continues to tap, trying to find more combo pieces. He's down both Shadow Word deaths at this moment, but I guess it's kind of negligible. Since his operative just gets a clean kill on the Emperor,
Actually, no.
and he just gets to develop things with so much life.
Oh, no,
So now Izzyflo has a lot of resources to work with.
Played I know a guy.
I guess Demon Fuse isn't as much resources, but
Wait, no, he would clear that. What?
No, why did he hit him first? Bad play triggers.
Oh.
No,
Yeah, I know, I understand. Yeah, so bad. Oh, okay.
he saved like 2 damage, but like that's way more.
what does he do here?
Reapers make me want to just hold this, but I feel like I could just kind of play it because it's a
It's likely going to be, depending on the Kazaka spell, it's likely going to be Tap Reno from this position since he wants to push the initiative forward.
The way he played, it felt like he had a
He
Ravaging.
takes Polymorph and summon a 5/5.
He definitely.
So it could also just as easily be Kazaka's potion.
I think he's just queuing. I think he's just queuing Taunt Warrior because I can probably Arcanine.
You don't like your body's good in here right now. Good, and also works against the brawl. That's why you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my board like kind of nice. I think I would, unless he has like double shield one.
This is control warrior, so I don't think it's prize.
This is one of the situations where Priest falls behind a lot of the time.
Oh, that's okay.
Like he has a really good Drake Holy Nova.
4, 7, 7.
He's not really dealing with this 5/5, so he never like fully gains initiative back. Which is kind of complicated on his part.
That's like one.
We played that very well.
Oh, never mind. Oh man, if he didn't fuck up the acolyte play,
Yeah, he would have been fine because he would have had the body and he would have drew more.
I think he just made that deck because he's like, sure, I need control warrior to play
I
fire
want
warrior.
to queue right away. I have to wait a bit.
So did I run into him again?
That's what I did.
I ran into the same guy like 3 times before, and I was like, oh my god.
No, it was a good match if you wanted again. That's how I usually. Priest is
Playing right now.
not amazing, but there's also in my mind that Priest is like absolute trash.
I feel like keeping one scale, but I'm sure the greedy thing is to hold him for one.
Yeah, you should have done more with everything. You keep robbing. Robbing is
Probably is a good.
but then like you just
But-
want the earliest.
Yeah, I just want the. He mold 3. I think I'm 2 stars.
Good robbing back. I mean like it would have been the same.
Fucking do it right now.
It's a lot of initiative from.
Good. Play it. Play it. Patches is good.
Oh, and we see he's gonna pull the trigger on the Reno Jackson so he can enable his Shadow Flame, while keeping the Giant, which is a good enough clock.
Oh, coin heal. Do it.
Question is, where do the last points of damage that he needs come forward?
This looks like a losing game.
And do they trigger Izzyflo to pull the trigger on this Deathwing as a result? We've already seen the Siphon Soul. We've already seen a Blast Crystal.
This looks like a. I thought you conceded. I would have had.
That would have been a great play from him.
Dragon, why? I think robbing. Robbing probably the best.
Well, you thought the game based like you had no one. Your one draw was pageant, and your 2 draw.
Talent face. Oh, but he's going face. What?
He can't clear it, so.
Might even see Keyo just go face. Yeah, he goes face every time.
I like a conceder.
He probably.
It's very good positioning from Keyo.
I think more for your.
Yeah. There's no point. I'll just wait a moment so I don't get him. I mean, if it's the Climb the Legend, it's about efficiency. So, just wait a second.
Playing fast deck is usually
Because by the time like I finished losing to him, I could have won like 2 more.
pretty much. In the beginning of the season, I just.
The play's probably refreshment vendor here. Just like Izzyflo's out to this game is to out card advantage him,
That's the
remove
last
cards,
Like right now.
to play towards the fatigue plan, knowing that there's no Jiraxis in his deck. He doesn't explicitly know since deck lists aren't revealed, but as the tournament goes on, he probably should at some point know what some of his opponents are playing. We see just that. We see he's just gonna clear the board, just like maintain his own life total instead of this. He still has Deathwing to fall back on if he wants it.
Oh my god.
You have no 2 drop you had on your
This is like.
patches your 1 drop. That's pretty sad.
Okay, what's your build to see if it's any different?
I didn't say one.
What does he do here as a result?
Well, it's like not really much way to build.
Yeah, there's really not much different you could do.
No amount of AoE spells really helps clear it entirely because of the toughness on operative. But Nether's fine. Nether plus Memsy Tech at least presents a board. It's kind of awkward versus Corruptor, but he can't possibly know that.
Okay.
This is really a back and forth game that we're seeing.
All looks terrible. All of it looks terrible. Oh my god. Because I don't like this. The coldest might be better than that. No. Or weapon.
Can choose to draw a card instead. It's a pretty interesting play, mostly because he could just run his guys in Defender. But now he entombs as well in Dragon Priest. That's an interesting inclusion.
Oh fuck you.
Let me see, he's going to punish him here. As the 2 life that probably would have saved him the game with only 1 more card left in Keyo's deck. Thank God. And we're jumping into game 2 now. Or game 3, rather.
I should just leave with him right here. Why not? Like I don't see
Here we go. And the Shaman versus Reno Lock deck's a little bit less favored, but there are a lot of tech cards that the Shaman could probably play
I think I have to at that point. Like, there's
to
no
help
point.
stretch out the extra points that they need to finish off the Reno before they actually cast Reno Jackson.
Wow.
Same thing here. Just having a good curve and pressuring them, like it's probably the best that you could afford to do. He chooses to go with Doomsayer on turn 3. It gets punished a lot of the time, but the Shadow Bolt is very clean. And this is very underwhelming. I would have much rather preferred to just see him
Please stop saying that.
at least go all in. If he's gonna play Doomsayer, at least play it on turn 2. Just go forward.
That's true, but I don't want to do that right
What
now.
is this?
I can't. I can assume the worst if there's way for me to play around it, but I can't play around it.
Same for this line. Like a Coin Feral buffs the Trog in the same regard and also smooths out the curve, while not enabling Mortal Coil or Demon Wrath as heavily, as well as Hellfire. Like it lets you keep the Flame Tongue for value post Feral Spirits, and it just smooths out your curve better. Like you're never gonna cast his Jade Lightning, and now you're never gonna cast his Feral Spirits. But it seems to be working out since he's pressuring his opponent very well. And we'll see exactly how Izzyflo chooses to clear this board. He seems to be hovering over the Demon Wrath quite a bit, so it's almost certainly going to be that plus Mortal Coil on the Trog, presumably. And we see the same issue coming back to bite. to bite Keyo, but not really in that regard since he's still smacking his opponent in the face. Like it's still working out pretty well for him.
Do you keep Borax or do you send it back for one drop?
Yeah, just keep Borax. Borax is fine. Like,
Because some people say they send back Borax to try to push for one drops, but I don't think that's. I think Borax is way too good. To,
We see Kazakus. If he's going to Kazakus in this position, it's almost certainly going to be for one.
yeah, yeah. Because Borax hit everything.
So he gets deal 3 damage and Demon Wrath. But it almost certainly has to be Demon Wrath as one of the choices on this Kazakus spell. You see, it's actually like, okay, there we go. Yep, that was the perfect outcome for him. Oh, he chooses to deal damage and gain armor instead, which actually like gains you less life in the long run because there's still this amount of power on the board, and this should just close it out for him right now.
Yo, Peaks. Is this the last game? What's the
This is game 3.
game 3? It's supposed to be Izzyflo instead of Genesis.
Who told the joke? No, it came from the mail truck. I don't clear that, right? With the charge or with the?
well, you could just use your body. You have a weapon already, so I would just
That's right. I can team with you. Oh fuck.
There's not much to this interaction. Like we just see that he doesn't have Reno.
just act like you
Pretty typical of
totally intended.
the winning line for the Shaman player.
Normally not.
You didn't change it?
What?
You didn't change it?
No, I'll change it after.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. No.
where is my?
Smack him again. You put off the reaper. You get like that rage damage.
Oh, what is this?
You hit and you spell
This kid does the maximum amount of damage. And is Reno the next draw? It is most certainly not. So I think that's. We're just gonna see this finish up in quite some time.
So you just exchange goes Leroy in the face. With like more strike on him.
Before he drops the thing from the left.
Yeah, pretty much. Before I get the damage and then now.
Oh, order speaker.
Oh, yeah. That matchup's terrible.
I should still do you what I'm thinking, right? Because I just want to squeeze in the damage at this point.
We see Keyo taking the match 3-0. So we'll be back with the rest of our losers bracket after this short break.
I like how his name changed.
Yeah, well,
At the very end.